Hello and welcome to our very first episode of Nurturing the Nest podcast. I'll be your host, Alfonso, along with my lovely wife and my co-host, Judith. And together we form Nurturing the Nest.
We want to give you the warmest of welcomes. This is going to be a podcast that is going to serve as an umbrella for everything that we are wanting to support you with, from marriage to parenting, to the beautiful things, to the messy things, all of it.
Everything in between.
Everything in between, exactly.
So honey, I thought we'd start off just by doing a little bit of an introduction about ourselves, our story, what we're all about, and then we'll delve into the first topic of this first episode, which is influence in marriage. We've talked about it, yes. Right? And we thought it'd be a good start to this podcast. Just briefly, my love, you want to introduce yourself for those that don't know us already?
Absolutely. I am a marriage and family therapist. I have been in this field for 15 years now. It feels like a really long time. And my primary focus and passion has been supporting families all the way from the perinatal season of life all through the teenage and young adult years. That is what my focus and my heart has been. We have two beautiful girls, ages 10 and 5, and we'll talk a lot about our personal stories. Really, the goal of this conversation is to help you in any way that we can, but also it's just to invite you into our private conversations, almost like if you were in the living room talking with us.
Exactly. And so my name, like I said, is Alfonso, and I am a relationship educator. I've been in the field for about 15 years. Mm-hmm. Funny story, how I got into this field is actually an interesting story. We were actually engaged to get married, mm-hmm. right? We got married in December, so that summer, before we got married, we just needed to raise some funds to pay for the wedding,
yes,
right?
As most of us do.
Yes, exactly. And my father-in-law happened to work for a very prominent nonprofit here in California. We're based in California, that taught relationship courses, mm-hmm. right? This is before they even started teaching parenting courses. First, They started with relationships, marriages, and as you know, California it's a vast state. There's about 40 million inhabitants, so there's a lot of work to be done, mm-hmm. right? And so they needed the help. So I was trained under him, and I started teaching under him, and just getting my feet wet. Here I was. You were teaching as well, teaching relationships, teaching marriages, and we were not even married ourselves. Right?
I know.
But that's where the passion began to grow, right? Mm-hmm. And I actually had another career in the legal field for 15 years prior to this career, and which I enjoyed as well. But just the passion that I felt for this field, right? Mm-hmm. And we just felt that we were created to do this, yes. right? And now I work for this nonprofit. I'm one of the directors there. I've been there for, like I said, for about 15 years now.
Yes.
And we love what we do. We've taught thousands of couples, parents, from the pews to in churches to people incarcerated, a little bit of everything, right?
Everything.
From all walks of life, from grandparents to new parents. And our goal, like my wife said, is just to invite you into our home and just hear our conversations. We want to share the what we know, the skill set that we have, the passion that we have, and also we're in it as well. We're in the thick of it as well. Our girls, like my wife said, they're 10 and 5, so we are in the struggle. Alongside all of you as well. So, like I said, we are here just to open up the conversation. We'll talk about topics like what, my love, in this podcast.
Well, everything. We want to talk about marriage, and we really want to dive deep into what has helped us, what have been some of our pain points. We mm-hmm. want to share what we have heard mm-hmm. from holding space for honestly thousands of families at this point. So we want to focus on marriage, but also parenting, what works, what doesn't. Mm-hmm. There's so much information out there, and sometimes it can feel conflicting. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to be really practical.
Mm-hmm.
We want it to be something that if you listen to us, you're going to be able to take something and implement it right away that week.
We also encourage you to follow us on our social media accounts, other social media accounts at Nurturing the Nest, also nurturingthenest.com. So we want to be a place where you can come and just get a lot of information and inspiration as well. Exactly. We want you to join our community. We've worked really hard on putting together some courses that we believe will be helpful to mm-hmm. all of you. Like I said, it doesn't matter what your walk of life is or your stage of life you're in. My wife is a perinatal specialist, a trauma specialist. So we'll delve into that as well. As part of, we have a course for that. We also delve into discipline, mm-hmm. right?
Yes, hot topics.
Hot topics, right? And we'll talk a little bit more about this at the end. We want to give you a gift here as a gift for all of you. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But for now, let's get to it. Our very first topic here is the role of influence in marriage. Yes. It's a big one. It's a big one. Now, let's start by framing this, my love. Can you, we want to talk about a study that was done by Dr. John and Julie Gottman. They're who are they?
Yeah, so we want to tell you a little bit about Drs. John and Julie Gottman. Look them up. They are world-renowned psychologists and researchers, and they specialize in relationships and marriage. They co-founded the Gottman Institute, and they have spent decades studying couples and learning what helps them, what doesn't, what are the key behaviors that are going to make or break a couple.
Exactly. So, like I said, we, as part of our role in our day jobs and just, as we put together our courses and information to help our followers, we try our best to get the most cutting edge research available out there, right? It's not just our opinion here, right?
No.
This is everything we talk about. It's based on years and years of research as well, right?
And then we put it to the test in our family.
Exactly, right? And we try to bring it, we try to break it down in small bites, right?
Yes.
That can be practical and that can be helpful for young families, especially young families. Again,
Right.
this is for everybody, but especially young families, right? So this specific research project, it was a 12-year study that was done by Dr. Gottman and his team. He's based out of the University of Washington State. And it's very interesting. What they did is they followed 130 newlywed couples, right? As soon as they got married, they started following them for 12 years. And you can look it up yourself and get more information. We don't want to delve too much into it, but this is just I wanted to read to you a quote from Gottman himself that was talking about the results of this project. He said, even in the first few months of marriage, men who allow their wives to influence them have happier marriages and are less likely to divorce than men who resist their wife's influence. Wow. Now here's a money quote. Statistically speaking, when a man is not willing to share power with his partner, there is an 81% chance that his marriage will self-destruct. Self-detonate, right? Wow. There's a lot to talk about in this quote here in this passage from Dr. Gottman.
Yeah,
what are your impressions, Valef? Just top line impressions of this.
Just the statistics are staggering. 81%. If you, as my husband, are not open to my influence and to be a team with me.
Now, one thing that I noticed right off the bat is that the research focused on the men, right? For a reason, right? Because generally speaking, again, we're going to talk in generalities as well.
Exactly.
So it's not always the case, but generally speaking, women are more open to receiving their husbands for influence, to receiving their husband's influence, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's a given.
It's a given. And there are many different reasons for that, from upbringing to cultural norms to just, that interdependent nature of having a newborn and needing support. I mean, there's so much. We're not going to focus on the why. We're just going to honor that that's what it is. And we're going to dive into this piece of influence.
Right. Now, in many cases, there's, I see it this way, there's cultural and there's a generational divide. Now, we're both of Hispanic descent. We're Latinos, right? We've been, in the U.S. for many, many years. This is our home, but we do have our culture as well, right? So I'll speak about our culture, and I know that in other parts of the world, if you hear this, in other parts of the world, I know that in your culture, in your cultural norms, and there may be something similar to this, right?
Exactly.
But in our culture, there's something, let me give you an example. There's something called machismo. Yeah, we're going to go there. So what is machismo? You probably heard the word referenced. It's an idea, right? It's a concept, if you will, where men, mostly from Latin American countries, right, have a strong sense of masculine pride. Now, there's nothing wrong with masculine pride, right? Nothing wrong at all. But in this framework or in this concept, right, the men, not only do they not seek their wife's input, they reject it, right? Because they have all the answers. Right? And we have many examples from our own personal lives, right? Of how we grew up, where my wife had, if you want to share, honey, about that big, fork in the road when you were a younger child, when you were, I think, 5 or 6?
Yes, big decisions that sometimes are made by only one person in the family. And there's a ripple effect on the rest of the system. And there's no input or no openness to hear, right? A different perspective. But I think what I'm hearing you say, and I love this, so I really want to highlight this. Masculinity is it can be a wonderful thing. Like, I know I rely on your masculinity and I cherish it. And when you are in your healthy masculine energy, I can be in my feminine energy and I can be nurturing and loving, and I can rest and show up in a very joyful way. So there's something very beautiful and sacred about masculinity. But what I'm hearing you say, it's when it takes a toxic turn.
Yes.
And it becomes the everything, right? The go-to for everything. That's where we start getting into trouble. And you close your heart off to, you know, your partner. That's when it gets really complicated.
We talk about a lot about parenting styles, and it's part of the gift we're going to give you later on. So keep on watching. But one of the styles that's pretty prevalent is what we call the dictator or the authoritative style, right? And this goes along with what we're talking about, right? The whole machismo thing, where you think you have all the answers and you don't need anybody's input, right? I remember back in the day, you know, my grandparents, right, where my grandpa specifically, where he didn't seek input, right? He would wake up one day and say, you know what, today I woke up, you know, really wanting to eat chicken. So I'm going to kill the family chicken that my kids have as a pet, and we're having chicken, right, for dinner, because he was craving it, right? And he would say, you know what, I think I'm going to paint the house purple, because that's the only paint that they had, and it was the cheapest one. And guess what? Now you have a purple house, right? Right. There was no input from the women. None. There was no desire to hear, you know, their input. And I think having that as our background, as growing up that way, you know, it does become part of who you are too, right? If you're not careful. Oh, right? Absolutely. If you don't learn new skills, right? That's a hole that you can get in that can be very dark, right? That's your only worldview, or the only framework you have. Thankfully, for us, we have a different framework, right? And what has worked for us is not, I don't value power as much as I value partnership, right? And I think machismo, that's what it does. It puts an emphasis on power, on authority. Like, on I'm control. The man, control. I'm the man, control. I know, or I should know all the answers, right? And the thing is, when they don't, because inevitably they're not going to have all the answers, right? Right. And when they don't, they still end up blaming the world, right, around them. Anybody else but them, right? Yeah. But in this framework of influence, I think it's important to highlight that we value in our relationship partnership over everything else, right? And I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's worked for us going on 15 years this year, right? This partnership that we have together. And like I said, healthy marriages thrive, right, on mutual respect, right? On being emotionally vulnerable, right? Absolutely. And even shared decision making, right? Right.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about this piece about vulnerability, because I feel like it's in direct opposition with that toxic masculinity, specifically machismo. What has helped in our marriage to create a sense of vulnerability? What has allowed you to be vulnerable?
I think in our relationship is, first of all, you've modeled it to me and to our girls. We talk a lot about modeling behaviors, right? In our courses and just when we speak to people in our classes, I think it's a key part, right? Where a lot of times, you know, growing up, things that were modeled to us were very unhealthy, right? And we get stuck in that. And sometimes, like I tell people all the time, when it comes to our parents and our grandparents and et cetera, the mistakes they did make a lot of times is like, they don't know what they don't know, right? Nobody taught them, right? All they knew is about how they were raised. Exactly. Right? Exactly. And then all their parents knew is the same thing, how they were raised, right? So it becomes this vicious cycle, right? Right. Where I'm doing what was done to me. Yeah. And this is all I know. Right. Good or bad.
And a lot of times, I don't know if this was your experience, and I'm talking about for those of you watching, but I know for most of us, the experience was you saw the anger, you saw the outbursts, you saw the fight. You never saw the vulnerable part.
Never. That's a joke. It's kind of like a running joke, right? Our parents would fight in publicly in the dining room. The power struggle that we're talking about. Right? But then when they would make up and they would apologize to each other, it'd be behind closed doors.
That vulnerable piece was
and we never got to see that.
We never got to see it.
We only saw the messy part, right?
Exactly.
We only saw the slam doors and and the looks and the silent treatments and whatnot, right? Exactly. And that's that. I know that's not just something that happens in our culture. I know it's pretty prevalent in worldwide, right? This is a worldwide phenomenon, right? Exactly. So going back to your question, my love, I think number one, you modeled vulnerability, how to be vulnerable. I think it helps that, you're an amazing therapist and you have a skill set, that I tell her I'm lucky because I have her, right? And I know not everybody has a therapist, close by, on standby, right? But you have modeled vulnerability to me. You made it a safe space, right, for me to be vulnerable myself. And I think another thing I would say is that you don't make my emotions about you, if that makes any sense.
Okay, talk to us about that.
Okay.
I want to hear more because I want to do that more.
Yeah. My emotions, good or bad, right?
Yeah.
If I'm in a foul mood, if I'm quiet, because a lot of times men, we just have an off or an on switch. We don't have, a lot of times we're just black and white, right? In our thinking, and there's no gray areas, right? Either we're connected or we're not, right? And especially some of us, if
you're steady, which I like it.
Well, I'm steady, yes.
What you see is what you get.
Yes, but people might say when they get to know me, they might say, "Wow, you're cool to hang out with, and you're an extrovert." But I'm really not. I'm really I think of myself as an introvert, right? But when I'm comfortable with people, right, then I open up and and I connect. So I can connect with people pretty easily, right?
But you're talking about like emotional boundaries. Like I give you space to be.
Yes.
And if you are withdrawn, if you need to think about something, if you need to process, if you're quiet, I don't take it personal.
You don't take it personal. Right.
Okay.
And you stay steady, right?
Okay.
And you're also curious, wanting to know,
yes.
Know me better, right?
Absolutely.
And also you don't get defensive, like you just said, right? About how I'm acting and whatnot. So that's very helpful as well. And the last thing I'll say is you have always celebrated me. For me, right? And made me feel valued in my masculinity, right? Which I think is key.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
100%.
Like I said, we're not downplaying masculinity. It's an important part of this, right? How we parent our kids,
yes.
right? Just like when we go on trips, right?
Yeah.
I'm the one that takes the lead in those things because that's what a man should do, right? The safety part, right? I want you to be safe, and I want you to feel protected, and I want you to, I take the lead on that, right?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I'm glad that you feel celebrated because it's such a gift to me. Like I was sharing a few minutes ago, when you take that healthy masculinity on of like, I'm going to protect you, I'm going to be here for you, and I'm going to champion you. Oh goodness, I can relax, and then I can go into my more nurturing, loving side and just be there for you. But yes, it's precious to me, and I celebrate it. Yeah, absolutely.
And here's another thing I'll say here is like we mentioned earlier, there's going to be times in your life, right, as a family, there's going to be a fork in the road. Major decisions, we all go through them, whether financial, whether family, whether starting a business, relationship stuff with family. There's going to be a fork in the road. We go this way or this way. Right?
Yes.
And one thing I'll say is that when we talk about being vulnerable and influence, right? Obviously it's important when it's a family situation, right? When we both have to decide about an important topic.
Yeah.
But talk to me about what about if something personal to you? Right? Which is also an important thing, right?
Yes.
Maybe it's something to do with your business, right? Or me with my job, right?
Yes.
And I have to make a big decision, As this didn't happen, but as an example, let's just say that they offered me, a promotion, but I have to move to a different state, right? Do I decide on the spot without consulting you and seeking your input?
Right.
That's what we're talking about, right? Just because people might say, well, it's his job, it's his decision, right? Maybe, he gets to decide.
Yes, but if you have this framework of we're a team, and again, we're going to connect to this
partnership.
Concept. Yes, there's an interdependence, and we're in it together, then the approach is so different.
Exactly. It is different, and it's important for us to not only be vulnerable when it comes to our family, when obviously it is, but also in our own inner life, right?
Yes.
Also,
100%,
right?
100%.
What about how do I nurture my own friendships? Can you help me out? Is this a good friendship? Is this a good...
I think that's going to have to be a separate podcast because there's so much we could talk about, even just like friendships. Yes, 100%.
Right. Am I making a good... And I can say, honestly say to all of you, those of you that know us, you will know that we're not lying here, where you have been there for me when I had to make big decisions, could have changed the trajectory of our life, right?
Yes.
And I've sought your input, and then it's always been really good input too.
Thank you.
Really good advice, right? And I've cherished it, right? And I've taken it to heart, right? And I've made decisions based on seeking your counsel, right? And I think that's important as well. Not only that, though, it allows our children, our girls, to see
Yes.
We're modeling this to them.
100%.
Right? So even, and this can be in the minute things, in the small things, and then also in the more serious things, right? What do you want to have for dinner, right? Where should we go for X, right? Let's do a little getaway. What should we do, right?
Even recently we took this big trip and you were always checking me about like the itinerary and things and activities, and you always had an open heart, and I have to say that's part of what makes our time together so great.
So precious and so great.
Yes,
and
it works for everyone.
We
in the
bond
family.
so much because, again, I'm outnumbered 3-1. We even have a female dog, so it's 4-1, right? So I keep that in mind, right? So when I'm making decisions, when I'm planning a trip or whatnot, I know there's 3 women, right? And 2 of them are still young, right?
Yeah.
So maybe whitewater rafting is not going to be okay.
Probably not. Not
Maybe not at this stage, right? Maybe we shouldn't do that, right? Even when we have a movie night, right?
Right.
Choosing the right movie to watch.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I seek the input of my wife, my girls, and let's decide, right?
Right.
We can't just be doing rom-coms all the time either,
No.
right?
Oh no, we have to guard you again, right? There is like this amazing part of masculine energy that we celebrate and we guard,
right?
And we have to be mindful.
So we have to find
a
good balance,
yes,
right?
Teamwork.
So, exactly. So Maya, as we close up here for this episode, let me ask you a question as well, and then we'll wrap up. What have I done to help you be open to my influence?
Wow. There's so much that you've done. I mean, one of the things that you really have mastered, and you did this early on, and I'm so thankful that we started doing this work even before we got married, but listening is such an important piece, and you mastered it from the start. You have developed the ability and the skill set to hold space for me without trying to fix it or take control. You trust me that even if I come to you with big emotions, you're always pouring into me that I will find a way as well.
Yeah.
So we do it together, but there's also this trust of just holding space and letting me get to the answers that my heart is needing. So listening.
I think that's key, because listening is a skill that you have to learn, right? And a lot of people don't realize that. It's such an important one that people don't really pay attention to, right?
Right.
As you say all the time, that's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
One mouth, exactly. There's a purpose for this. The other thing that I would say is you have never, not once, and I have come to you in my most darkest, twisted moments, and yes, I have them. We all do, right? And I have shared very, very painful things with you. You have not once used them against me. You have not once weaponized what I have shared with you. You have championed me, loved on me, and you have believed in me that I can get to the other side.
And I think, thank you for that.
Yeah.
But I think that sometimes maybe I've pushed you too much.
You have
right?
that as well.
Because I believe so much in you, right? And I know what you have inside of you. I think you were created to do this, you're an amazing therapist, as I've mentioned. And I think, and at this point, hundreds of clients are a testament to that, right? There's times that we'll be out and about and somebody will come and just hug you, right? I'm like, and sometimes it's somebody you taught at the jails, right? That are out now and they still remember your counsel, your words. Or people that were your clients that in their darkest moment you were there for them and nobody else found out, nobody knew, because it was it's so precious when you do that. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly that that I'm here for you. I try my best not to weaponize. I don't weaponize anything.
At all. You never have.
And vice versa. I would say vice versa as well. And I think that we, as a couple, we've come to a place where we can feed off each other, right? And also she'll tell me once in a while when I'm, again, we're human, right? So when I'm with my girls or whatnot, she'll say, use the skills. She just tell me lightly, use the skills. And I'll be like, I know what you mean. Okay, I will use my skills. But I think we're modeling these behaviors to our daughters.
But even just that is your openness to my influence. And I thank you for that. That's not, an easy thing to have that heart posture.
Thank you. So again, this is there's so much more to say, but we wanted to start off just opening up the subject. I want you to tell us in the comments, right? What do you struggle with when it comes to influence in marriage? What are the areas? Maybe we can get some info, depending on the feedback, we can do a follow-up.
Absolutely.
This is just part 1. 100%. Let's call it part 1, right? Because there's so much to be said. The other layer to it is influence with your kids.
Oh,
That's
we'll
a
get
whole
to that.
nother, we'll get to that, right? Because that's also, that's key, right?
You want influence, not power. You lose power.
Exactly. We're talking about when your kids are older, and we'll get people to come to us all the time and tell us, you know what, I lost that connection with my kid. They're already adults. They rarely call me. We don't really communicate anymore. What can I do? You know, and if we backtrack and be like, okay, tell me about how they grew up.
Yeah.
Well, I was working all the time, I was distant or whatever, right? And there's that, or you used, more like a authoritative or dictatorial
that piece.
type of style. That'll come later. But for now, we just wanted to start the conversation on influence and knowing, again, we're not downplaying masculinity.
Not at all.
That's precious in a relationship. That's important.
Oh, I need
But exactly, but just not the toxic level, right?
Exactly.
The machismo where the man knows all. And again, part of that is also that the men are emotionally distant. Men don't cry.
I would say that that's the third piece. That you've been there for me, not just physically, but emotionally. So, yeah.
And that I grew up that way as well. And I know a lot of our listeners listening right now, you probably grew up that way as well, right? Especially if you're a male, they will tell you men don't cry. Why are you crying, right? Suppress your emotions, right? As if emotions have genders, right? Which they don't, right? It's a natural, emotions are there for a reason, right? They were created for a specific purpose. We can talk more about that in another episode. But for now, we just wanted to bring to light this such an important topic as influence in a marriage, right? Again, remember that statistic, right? Let me read it again here. Even in the first few months of marriage, men who allow their wives to influence them have happier marriages and are less likely to divorce than men who resist their wives' influence.
Yeah.
Wow.
The numbers say it all.
The numbers say it all. The research is very clear in this topic. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us on our first episode of Nurturing the Nest podcast. As a gift from us to you, we have this amazing course that we created that'll give you the basics. We just want to start with the foundational stuff, right? Can you tell them about it a little bit?
Yes. This is a labor of love. And to us, this is a calling. We want to make high quality resources available to everyone. We would love for you to just click on the link. We'll make it available and start diving in. Some of the we've got an amazing feedback and we have those testimonials coming. But someone recently told me, like, I looked at it and I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be such a massive undertaking. Because really, like, we poured our hearts into it and the workbooks, all of it. And then she said, and then I started and the videos are so easy to follow. They're like broken down into 5-minute segments and the app knows where you left off and all of it, right? And we have a community that we are going to be there and we're going to be giving you feedback as you work through the course. So truly, this is a gift from us. Just start it. Do not delay. It is digestible. It is easy. Again, we're parents in the thick of it. We know all you have are 5 minutes and you probably are doing a million other things while you're listening to this thing. So we created it thinking of you.
and once you finish that course, if you want to continue, we have this amazing membership that we're going to be pouring into you every month. We're going to be uploading videos, important subjects like discipline, which is a major one, right?
Right.
Trauma, right? Trauma responses.
I'm a trauma therapist, so there's a lot of healing work to be done. Yeah.
We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about communication skills. We're going to talk about technology and how to handle that with children. And listen, we live in the world we live in today. Right now, we're using technology to reach all of you. It's a beautiful thing, right? But also that we have to be careful as well, right?
Right.
In certain areas, and we'll talk more about that later on. But for now, we just wanted to thank you and leave us your comments below. Click on the link.
Make it a conversation.
Make it a conversation. Until next time, again, Alfonso and Judith from Nurturing the Nest.
See you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.